Everybody in here. First, second, good to see you, Matt. Good to see you, Greg. You guys are awesome. Let me get my chart up. I'm having a little grub. I apologize in advance, but daughter's dance and cheer practice didn't run late, but their mom was late picking them up. So, I don't know, push me back a little bit. Not much has changed, though, guys. I mean, I think Matt hit it on the head. I'm not saying we're going to watch paint dry, but structural range wise, we've gone over this. So, for those that are in the chat already, what's up, Frank? Ghost Rose, yeah. T-Bone, love it. Love to see it, guys. You're at the range low. So structurally, we've had this range pulled. I've been showing it on and off. You know, I know we do a lot of time-based stuff as well, but you are coming into the low here. So you have to expect that this is support. I think Matt posted a really nice spot in the group. Matt had posted the gold pocket had gotten tapped, I believe, like right here. It's been support. It's the value area low. You have to understand that this is support until it's not. So putting in potentially a higher low there. Apologies if you guys can hear me eating, but in reality, you are looking at a structure, right? So I don't pattern trade, but you know, we're not oblivious to the idea that price does consolidate and compress before a move. And this is compressing before the rate hikes tomorrow. So bueno, Matt, thank you so much for letting me know that as well. I am going to switch the chat over just a second. That way I can actually see what's going on. So you guys know I'm on ESPN all the time. Don't like to see that 2-0 Phillies in the first. That's not what we want to see, but a lot of ball game left. So I'll be up for a little bit, and we'll try to be here until we actually maybe get something in terms of a movement. So you guys know this is live trading. So it's one of those things where our goal here is to find a live trade. I have not updated any of my previous day levels. So let's go ahead and do that right out the gate. I think that's probably going to be the best way to go about it. Let's get rid of ESPN. It just is a distraction at this point. I need to refresh the entire thing actually in order to get new live data. Hopefully Exo's not giving us any more issues. All right, 20,451, and it looks like about 20,583. 451 and 583. Let's get rid of this stuff here just because it's in the way for now. I believe that was the correct levels, and we'll go to the value area high. And let's see what our value area high was. 20,640.50. So remember, we are coming into this blind, meaning that I have not been watching price action most of the day. We did an interview with Gareth earlier. It's on both my channel and Leading Crypto. So feel free to see that. Daily pivots above, not tapped. So one would expect us to probably make the $20 move up into the pivot. Not worth a long for me because I did not catch this wick, which occurred right at daily open. So not something I'm looking to long as of right now. However, we start looking at the overall target here, we might get into the order flow a little bit, see if there's a justification for a wider stop loss, the gold pocket and the previous day point of control, which is going to be naked for the day. So that might be right off the bat. That is probably going to be something that we're looking for. We got the daily open here. Not a bad spot. What is that? 468.50. Yeah, you clear the daily open here, hold it as support. So it means flipping it into support. You can make a case for this move into 20,565 up to 20,583. A lot of NFL trades, huh? All right, cool. You guys know I like my basic charts too. Already hit this gold pocket, but you know, it's cool to note that the 12M1, a level that I gave you guys back in like April and May, in some cases earlier from the group, obviously, like you guys have seen me give this out, but like publicly giving these levels out before they were even relevant is now the point of control of our consolidation. So I love to see that. Love to see the technical analysis working out. What's the low of this candle? 380. We're at 468. So you're looking at about 0.5%. Stop loss. Let's see what our low looks like here. I'll be honest, it's not like the best low. A lot of low. This is very low volume. So if we take this trade, we have to understand that it is kind of a risky trade. But you're above the weekly point of control in this case. You know, you're 0.5% away. This is something that I'm probably interested in getting involved in, just for the sake of we are going to take a trade on the stream. So this will be something that I'm probably interested in doing. I'm just going to have invalidation below the local low from when we made it earlier in the day. Yeah, it definitely does, Frank. The FOMC is going to produce some volatility, but it always ends up at a very technical level. However, it's not necessarily technicals that you need to be concerned with. What you got to be concerned with is, you know, technicals oftentimes play out. It's what gives us an edge in the market. However, they're not 100% certain, meaning that there are going to be a percentage, you know, there's going to be a percentage of the time that you're wrong. So even if it's as little as 10%, you can't let those 10% of lost trades ruin the successes that you have. So that's where the numbers game comes in. You have to be able to work that numbers game and understand that if you understand risk, you can lose trades and it's okay. You know, like you don't need to be so fully invested that you're getting wrecked on it. But yeah, TA does still hold relevant during FOMC. One situation that I'm looking at, you know, before we get too far into order flow, is the idea that, you know, we are coming up to, you know, range highs essentially on Bitcoin. Let's pull up ATS. We'll make sure the levels are the same. But as long as we're over 20K, I'm looking for the range highs. Now, imagine the structure breaks prior to the meetings, especially because we are getting to a resolution point. And we head up to the range highs here between, you know, 22,000, 22,262, according to this. I think 22.4 to 5 is a little more relevant, but imagine getting up into that resistance point and then getting a, you know, bearish Fed meeting, meaning they indicate that they may continue to raise rates in December, you know, things like that. They don't indicate a pause, but necessarily, or a pivot. They double down on, you know, I'm going to raise rates. So a lot of times it'll happen at areas like this and it breaks down, you know. So you just have to make sure that regardless, because it is unknown, the market's largely unknown. A lot of people look to people like myself or other creators as knowing something they don't. And in reality, that's not true. As much as some of the creators want that to be portrayed, that's just not the case. We don't know just as much as everyone else, but what we do know is how do we find an edge and how do we position ourselves? That's the hard part. How do I position myself so that if I am wrong, I'm not getting, you know, absolutely blasted in the event that happens? You know, that's the game. That's truly the game that you're playing. And if you can understand that, you can understand quite a bit. So one would think that you're bouncing at the low here. Natural target's going to be point of control of the overall range. If we take a look at our previous day range here, let's go ahead and actually mark it out now so that we can see it a little bit more clearly. Right, so now we'll actually sequester this off, so to speak. We'll quarantine it. and we'll just say that this is data that we know is established that's relevant to price in the last 24 hours. So we know that this is likely to at least be a playable set of information for us over the coming sessions, meaning Asia, London, into the New York session, depending on how things are going at that time. And we could start marking out our highs and lows as well. That's always a great thing to do, is mark your highs and lows. We always talk about these are going to be the levels that we want on our charts, because this is where, you know, traders have their stop losses, things like that. So you can see they carry alerts with them all the time. Anytime we cross those levels, I get an alert, both on my phone, in my email, text message, on my computer. You know, these are trades that I want to take. So what stinks is, in this case, the order flow is really not giving anything too strong, at least on the volume chart. We can go to the delta chart, take a look. I mean, you do have positive delta here. So one would think that with the positive delta, I don't see anything that would prevent us potentially from not trying to at least attempt into the weekly value area high and the previous day point of control. So now when we come here, let's see what TradingView says. Does it match up with EXO charts? You know, is this the right one? Yeah, that's the right one. It does. It really does. You know, you can see that you're right at the POC. So generally, you don't want to diddle in the middle. However, we're going to work off of this as a stop loss. So you have to understand the risk of getting stopped out there. Yeah, we're leading crypto. So there's a link in my bio. You can join the Discord. There's a general public section. And then obviously we have a members section as well, where we do this stuff. Is this a public video? Oh, shit. Okay, so, well, this is a public video, apparently now, guys. So we're going to rock a public trading stream. Normally we don't. We just get involved and we start looking to trade. So I was making some content earlier. So we'll, since we're public here, we'll make sure we're hiding any personal details, things like that. Hang on just a second. I always forget to check that because I launched it on my own as well, and I didn't realize that mine was set to public and Leading Crypto was set to private. So we're just going to go ahead and continue to do the stream either way. And we'll just count this as a video for the day. So it'll just be free to the public. Who cares? We take a trade, we take a trade. Yeah, I mean, overall, you can go off of two lows here. You can either go off the previous day low at 20,319, and what you can do is you just come over here and grab your price data, and you can just say, hey, is this how far away? 0.72%, 0.8%, or do I want to work off of this low right here? Personally, I'll probably work off of this one at 0.5%. It's a little shorter away, meaning that this is where my risk is. So now I can calculate how much money I would lose if I got stopped out. That's it. That's all I'm trying to do. Personally, I would rather have a little more confluence through EXO and order flow. So this is a tough one for me. Like, part of me wants to take the trade just to take the trade, which is a really bad habit to get into if you're trading. I don't have a trigger to get in the trade necessarily. That's the tough part here. Is there's no real trigger that I've seen. So outside of just playing the actual bounce, and the bounce, it was, I wouldn't say it was predictable, but it was definitely at an area where normally we would be looking for it. So it gives you a much better invalidation, mainly because you have statistical targets that we're now meeting. And if we're meeting those statistical targets already, it kind of takes away from the risk to reward. So I may wait a little bit and see if we get through this level and take a different entry at that time. And if you guys can hear me eating, I apologize. I am having just some diced potatoes and chicken, trying to keep that girlish figure, so to speak. Oh, no, you don't need to leave, Frank. You're good, man. No, Frank, you're not intruding at all. it's a public stream at this point. Stick around. If there's anything that you can learn, fucking hell yeah, man. More power to you. All we're looking to do is establish some parameters on the chart here, and we're not gatekeeping anything. It's just normally we do this for members, and if we do, I did another one that was public not that long ago on accident. It doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt anyone to get this information out there. So let me get rid of some of the stuff on the chart. We'll start cleaning it up a little bit as well, and I'm going to start updating it mainly because there are going to be things that we want to be taking a look at. We want to look at our trend from the previous day. This is is this the appropriate trend? When did this start? When did it end? Yeah, that's the previous day, so to speak. What's our previous week trend looking like? Yeah, we've fallen out of it. So that is nothing out of the ordinary. And then these are going to be, yeah, look at that back test. That's really nice. So this is your previous day trend according to Pitchforks. Really, really nice stuff. Look at that. Nice rejection. Nice, interim bounce into the VWAP and then down. And you're bouncing nicely from the previous week. Okay, very good. Let's look at coming into this day. Yeah, you can see that, if we break out of this channel, that'll probably be the play that I take. Anything above this, you're above the VWAP, you're above daily pivot. I'm looking to take this to the previous day point of control, and that could end up being a very small trade, like $60. But we are also doing a day trade, so that's the nature of this. This isn't going to be a swing trading session. Just so, and since this is a public video, I should say that it's going to be kind of long. It can be very boring because I'll sit here for hours waiting for a trade, and these guys know that. So they'll just put me on the background or whatever. But that's part of trading, is waiting for a good setup for you, because you want to play when the odds are in your favor. And that's what makes day trading so hard for a lot of people. Isn't just the risk management part of it, but it is the waiting until you have the advantage, so to speak. So I'm sitting this one out only because the order flow was not giving me an edge. And a part of that, I will say in this case, is due to the FOMC meeting, meaning that we are in kind of like a low volume state where people are waiting to see what's going to happen tomorrow. The technicals will still be respected, but our traditional entries might be less than spectacular. So Julian, let's get her done. Let's go. Let's go. Hopefully you guys all had a good Halloween. Let me know how your Halloween was in the chat. Especially if you dressed up. I did not dress up, but if you did dress up, what did you dress up as? I'd be curious to know. See, this is why we don't want to just impulsively think that we have to go to this gold pocket right away. Say you're getting a small pullback, you're at the statistical average from the previous day. So generally you don't want to regard it as support or resistance, but it does offer up the idea that this is a reversion to the mean. And a lot of times you get a reversion to the mean, it's where people take profits. Sometimes people defend that area. So it is one of those things where longing into this is not normally a good idea unless open interest, delta, things like that are in your favor. And if that's the case, then yeah, I mean, you can justify it a little bit. We don't have that environment right now just due to the overall low volume. So not a trade I'm going to be taking right off the bat. You watched two drunk people at the bar district get into a fist fight on Saturday. Huh. Yeah. I'm not college age anymore, but I can definitely say that that's always something that's going to happen in those, you know, in the life of a college student. There's probably no shortage of that in the bars, unfortunately. But people are going to be people. It's part of human nature, I guess. We're going to clean this up just a little bit. We'll leave that there. Let's get rid of our forks. Oh, I put that here, so let's go ahead and get that in there. If you have any questions, whether you're in the group or not, I guess since it's a public video and we're live, fire away, man. Like, that's all you've got to do. Ask a question, and I'll do what I can to help you out. Yeah, you can see you're into it there. A lot of times what we're doing is aiming for the EQ here. Just projecting trend a little bit. And if you aren't in the group, we do Thursday night. I do live TA for Debate Crypto as well. You guys should definitely check tomorrow out. It should be a really good episode. Not tomorrow, Thursday. And we've got free virtual girls for anyone that's interested, I guess. There we go. Green bodysuit mask and glow-in-the-dark strap on. Very nice. Yeah, if you follow Debate, Frank, you'll see me on Thursday as well. I love those guys. They've been nothing but amazing to us. And there it is. There's your break up. Big, big candle, though. So you've got a slight pullback here. You're getting a really fast entry into this. So I am curious to see what transpires out of this. Don't have our traditional. There we go. That's what I was trying to get done. Perfect. It might just make this move very, very. If it makes this move all the way to the golden pocket on this, which, you know, is probably unlikely, I might look for a short. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, weekly value area high. Everything's there. However, we did just talk about this, right? You are getting this break of consolidation. So one would think if we break consolidation, you would be looking to aim towards the highs back at resistance. All right, we're done eating. Just mowed that down as fast as I can. Believe it or not, I do keep the RSI up for those that are RSI junkies, mainly because I'll watch like a 4-hour formation like this, right? And see how you broke out and then deviated it, and kind of letting you know you're going to get that back test here into the 20K region. But as long as you're above 20K, like we were talking about, one expects to see these highs eventually. So while I'm erring on the side of a day trade short, that is not always the right call. Although when we get up here, I think if we get up here, I should say, this might be a nice little area to map off just to see the reaction. You know, if we can get a nice fast reaction, get some quick candles, get a nice switch up in both delta percentage, things like that, and get a good entry for a short, it could be scalpable for sure. You just watch for the possible. I said, yeah, you're not wrong there either. You've got you got these local highs here, right around 20,500. 507. So closing above on the 5 minute, but we know it's a 5 minute, got to pay a little more attention, but big PVA at the top here. So four-hour candle looks good. You've taken the lows here locally on the 1 hour. Man, this is where it pays to be on time. Happened right at the daily open, and I was not available to be at my computer, so that's kind of disappointing. Regaining the 2M5 key level. One would think that you'd be challenging at least this high, probably at 20,832. If you break the structure, that is, you break out of this, and that's what you got to be looking at. Declining open interest on the move up so far, though. What are we on, Delta? Let's go back to the volume chart. Yeah, declining open interest. You do have a nice bump in buyers here, though, so you do want to see that previous day val being respected. So if we do get this pullback, we want to see the previous day val and the daily open showing as support, right? That's what we want to see. Not a ton of buyers in there, but you basically just washing hands here at the highs. So if we do pull back, daily open, weekly point of control, previous day val, that little zone between 20,468 and 20,451. It's the area to see closures. And that would begot continuation. So essentially it would just look like this. This is the area you want to be holding on to. So it does imply that you come down to the VWAP potentially, which we all know the VWAP is the VWAP. It's the volume weighted average price, meaning it's likely to come back to that frequently after hitting resistance, things like that. So we'll see what we get. I don't normally use yeah, I saw that daily and naked point of control, Matt. I kind of counted it as hit because we got so close to it. So it's really up to you if you want to keep it on there. Yeah, Frank, I don't really look for a whole lot of moving averages. One that I will recommend, though, and I actually have it when I trade Mobility, which I don't do a ton of. Excuse me, sorry, on the old TikTok, the old time suck. Had Barstool Sports up. I do watch the 4 hour 55, right? And that is one that I like quite a bit. So if I was watching one, that's one that I will keep an eye on. There we go. 4 hour. And yeah. 55 is actually beneath this at 20,311. It got tapped on Halloween, and then it got tapped again here today. So that's one that right now you're battling with the I guess if we add more here, I'm sure I could find an EMA. There's so many EMAs, like you can almost make them always relevant. That's one of the reasons I don't use them too much. Not to say that they're not useful, like I think the 55, a 200, the 377 would be pretty useful, but most of the time I found that like range targets just give you a little bit clearer validation of like what you're looking to do with your trade. So for me, we kind of alluded to this earlier where when we were moving up into this region with the pause here. I'm either interested in a long here or I'm interested in potentially a short up here. And basically I'd just be marking these highs off. So if I was looking for a trigger for the short and I wasn't watching any order flow, I would literally mark this level off right here, this local high, okay? And what you're looking to see then is, and that's if it gets a push, obviously. This is all hypothetical, but these are scenarios that will occur and you should be aware of it. You come up into the gold pocket, then you want to see this either be support or resistance, this last local consolidation. If this gets flipped to resistance, you have a nice short back down to wherever your target is. For me, usually I use a session profile to figure that out. For a trade, or I'll use the VWAP here, which is very similar to a moving average, just catered to the daily session. However, if this is support, then you can do something like this, and you can actually rotate the range in full. Your weekly opens here at the weekly value area high and the previous day value area high up here. So that's, you know, that's how you're looking at it. You know, if it's a very clean look, I mean, it very well could be. I don't look at ETH BTC almost at all, but I'm not opposed to it by any means. We'll look at on what do you think? Coinbase probably best, I would imagine. You said 4-hour chart. Maybe a little bit here. I would probably draw this more of like a. The only thing I'd be looking for on this is as basic as it gets, and I know we don't do a lot of basic stuff, but you would just be looking for something like this in this case, right? You break below this, you're probably heading to your pivot, meaning that would break down. So this is an uptrend until it's not, and you're looking to see, can it break resistance essentially? Because I don't do a lot of volume work on these. So you're looking at a really rudimentary consolidation here. And you do have a higher low in place, meaning that your invalidation is below the low, also below the trend line, which is very nice. You just have to understand that if this doesn't make that move, you're coming down, you know, which means Ethereum isn't, the USD pair of Bitcoin is going up isn't going to suffer. However, you know, you would have made more money holding Bitcoin most likely. I didn't actually even see. Yeah, look at that. Look at the SPX just respecting all the technical analysis coming into today. The level we've had there. We talked about this swing failure pattern that occurred where we took the high. Now you're closing back below, coming back to that Q4. And in reality, though, what did we say was the line in the sand, looking for the Q3 open and the 2021 open, this prior support right here. And look at us now with the average of price at 37.56. I believe I calculated monthly averages on this, so only hit 61% of the time. So slightly better than a coin flip. Not what you want to see, but it's there, you know. So we lose the Q4, this is the target, and that's prior support. It's not out of the question to have a pullback after you've had a move like this. But if you start losing, you know, between 37.81 and 37.56, that little like pocket of $25, yeah, you're probably coming down to the 2021 low. And then the question is, you know, we get to play the game. Is this support or is it not? And at that time, Bitcoin's probably all the way down here at 19.1. You know, it's all the way down here filling in the October inefficiencies. But much like October left this, I think that if you get a rally, you know, this isn't, I don't think we'll get the same type of move off of the lows here like we did in July. But we did leave July, you know, inefficiencies that everybody wanted to get filled, and we didn't get those. However, when we returned, we filled them in exactly. And those were big targets for us back in the January timeframe. We had said the last week of January, we were expecting a low and a pivot, if you guys recall, because we were working off of the idea where we had timed out that range, which we could do on this one as well. I'll show you guys that one. I've already done it. It was this guy right here. So you can see we were expecting this low coming into like the 31st. Out to is, you know, maybe the first week of February. So we were looking for buys. We hit our level, nice bounces into the key level eventually. So all you did was fill in those inefficiencies. So once you started getting the breakdown, they just became targets. So the same thing can be applied to what we're doing now. So if we start pumping, you know, let's say we head all the way back up to the range highs at like $25,000. These inefficiencies become relevant once price starts breaking back below certain levels, like 22.5, for instance. You know, if you go to 24,000 and give up 22.5, obviously we've had this giant macro area that we've been talking about since June. This 20,688 pivot has been the level for us since well before June, actually. We've been talking about this level, and look at how well respected it is. You start breaking below 22.5, we can make a, you know, a skip and a jump over to, all right, well, we've got a nice range trade from 22.5 to 20,688. That's almost a 10% move, which, you know, it's nice. But if that's lost, we're looking all the way down to like 19.1. We're looking for that inefficiency to fill. And then we get to play the game again. Is this support? just like we would be doing on the SPX. Is this support? Like, is this going to hold again? But the trend is overwhelmingly down. And until you get back above, in my opinion, 39.2341, there's no point in even considering that the macro low is in. And even then, you're looking up to the Q1 low at 41.14 on the SPX. So that's something to consider. It is what it is there. So let's see if we get this move up into the gold pocket. We've got our level here. I'm going to go ahead and take off the term SFP for now because we don't know. But I am going to go ahead and add an alert to it so that I get the alert as soon as we pass through it. So will you guys? Yeah, if it does, ETH is going to blast. Yeah, probably. Ethereum, like I said, when we came down to the lows, I made the comment on both Bitcoin and Ethereum after we kind of blasted through 19.1. I said, I've already allocated all the money that I'm going to allocate to these assets based on the risk that we are coming into a material low. So on this last dip, when it came there, I just watched because I've already I've been buying. You guys know my first buy was 18,246, then 18,880. So I'm buying sub 19K. I'm trying to get a decent average and see if I can't take this up higher. And my first areas of interest are going to be, up here in like I guess this is a bad chart to do that on. Are going to be up here and start filling out some of these voids, so to speak. I want to see 22.5 potentially right here in the gold pocket. But in reality, we've got a nice weekly level, weekly swing failure pattern between 24,297, 24.7. And then we play the game of, is this going to break the highs here and make a move up into these inefficiencies that were left over? You can see this is a very big void, a big single print, which was defended. So I think we still have one above us. Yeah, 26,505. So 26,505 is still a single print that would put us essentially like, right above these local highs. And if you flip those into resistance, just like we were talking about right here, where you flip this little local level into resistance, you have an SFP at the range highs. Like, man, I'm looking to take that back down to those inefficiencies potentially. That's a swing trader's wet dream at that point. Yeah, that fork video is legit, man. And I feel bad that it's not more put together in the sense that it's not, how should I put it? It's not like polished in the sense that we have, like a schedule of events, like what we're going to be doing, like there's slides and stuff. But it was kind of off the cuff. But I think that's okay too. You guys get some nuggets out of there. I want to rewatch that one and a lot of the other ones, and maybe clean them up a little bit, but I don't want to lose some of the things that were said in there because some of the things in there were, they generally need to be said. So I need to go through and really kind of like take some notes, make an outline, and script it a little bit better. So. And this is what Matt was talking about. Watch for the SFP. So like while we're looking for this zone up here, you could even extend this down if you wanted to. Because we have an alert set anyway. He's talking about losing, 20,507 here. So you can see what he was talking about. Getting above this level and not being able to hold it as support. So you got to watch out for that SFP. And if you're actually going to get this push up. So now if we come back down, we need to see this finding support for that second leg. And as Matt also said, it's like watching paint dry in the Asia session. And it really is. I'm very happy we're getting the FOMC tomorrow. Get that out of the way. I think November 8th is the CPI data. Or no, midterms, and then CPI data is on the 10th. So big week for Bitcoin. And I have November 7th as the one-to-one in time and price, right? If we go out to the BLX here, I've been talking about how fourth quarter is going to be the time to pay attention. And so a lot of people will say things like, the cycles aren't the same, but if you took this length of time from here to here and projected it off the low, it's the exact same. Gave you and I cover this in my most recent public video that's not a live stream as well. It literally says, is the Bitcoin, low in question mark, and it's got Fibonacci time in it. Go watch it, because I'm gonna make another one that's gonna piggyback off of that. And you guys are gonna want to pay attention to that, because, one thing that people don't realize is that market dynamics don't change. And so that's why things like fib time work if you do it correctly, because the amount of time it takes to distribute a run up like this, right? So we had a massive run up, and the amount of time it took us to distribute these buyers and sellers, right, is the exact same a lot of times, because you have to look at the market like a rubber band, meaning that you can stretch a rubber band so far and then it's got to contract. And it does so in a similar fashion every time you do it, because buyers and sellers' habits don't change. So fear and greed is what drives the market. That's why a one-to-one in Fibonacci time, Fibonacci extension, that's why they work. And you can see now that we're coming into the one-to-one here, right? So we were looking for a macro shift right here at the gold pocket. We said, I think even in that video, I said, don't be surprised if this goes sideways to October. Well, we're past October. We're into Q4. We're coming into the one-to-one. And I think it's decision time for Bitcoin to decide, is it going to take that next leg down, or have we potentially found a low? Could it go into 2023 and then make a new low? Absolutely. Anything can happen. But we can only use the tools that we have and make inferences based on those. So we'll see what kind of data we get back from the Fed and what they say. And does it support that? Because if it starts supporting that thought process, then, we have, as traders, we have to react accordingly. No, yeah, Matt, I even said extended cycles seem like they were going, but we'll do this real quick. I'm going to go to weekly because it's just easier. So we've got time to kill. I've got alerts set on Bitcoin for upside and downside. I'm going to go ahead and mark out my gold pocket for the downside, actually, which is coming in below the previous day val. But I'm going to go ahead and put an alert here, and we've got an alert above us. So if price decides to do anything, guys, we're going to get a notification. So while we're doing that, we can go ahead and take a look. This is our last bull run. So this is the low here at 163 up to the 20K high, down to the low. We can see straight away where our 1-to-1 is. So that's why anytime it says that the bull market ended right here and that this was not the real, start of the bear market, I just want to slap them and be like, I don't know, man. Like, things just start adding up. Now, you had a 1-to-1 in time, but you did not have what's called a 1-to-1 in price. You've probably seen this if you're watching this from other creators like Gareth, which is, he used this as like a measured move, which he's 100% correct on, where you're looking for an identical move. You can see that would have put us up at like $400,000, right? So we're smart here on this channel, though. We know that's not realistic. We can then take the trend, though, and we can say, can I distribute the trend accordingly? And of course we can. You can see that you hit the golden mean ratio 100% correctly, the 618 and 65. So you did a 61.8% projection of this move at a 100% time to the dollar. So not only did you do that, you could then turn around and say, okay, do I have anything else to give me convergence there besides time, besides trend-based Fibonacci? You can then go over to here and you can say, well, what's my expansions look like? Well, where's my 1618? And let's go ahead and make this the next one. And you can start expanding over your macro golden ratio, which is the 1618. And you can see, boom, I've got that even. Now let's go into negative fibs, right? So let's do some negative fib work. Do I have anything else that supports it? You had multiple things that support this, guys. This is not like super, super hard. I don't think, anyway. So you can see you have a negative 2.5 from your low here to your high here. You can see that you're projecting for downside on this because you're looking at the expansions. However, we're looking for negative Fibonacci numbers as confluence. There's your 0.25. So you had a nice zone, okay, coming into this, where you could have just said that this was going to be resistance, and that if you could clear this, then yes, things would look pretty good to head to that 100K mark, to be honest with you. Like, that's why I said, if you clear this level, like, man, there were a lot of guys who are like, well, I'm going to short 74K. I'm like, I would not touch that short with anyone's money in this context. However, that never arose because this was the resistance. This is how you find those macro areas. So you can start doing the same for the next cycle once we have a confirmed bottom. But that's why the one-to-one in time and price did work, is because while we all wanted extended cycles, behavior of investors was identical. So we had the same amount of time for exuberance, which did cultivate us to come into this pattern right here. For anyone that follows me on Twitter, this is a pattern that I actually posted at this high. And I remember the timing was off, but I was like, hey, it's there. This is a log scale deep crab, which is just a really well done over projection of, if you get to these margins, you have to realize that investors are very, very overextended. I guess I should say the market's very overextended if you get to a pattern like this where you have a massive consolidation. This is just showing you that you had a big range, right? And all you've done in this range is you've established the range high, low, you've reestablished the range high, you've revisited the range low, and now you're breaking out of the range high. So you have, effectively a nice double bottom. It's just shown in a harmonic fashion, and we have predictable ratios that we should be looking at as reversal points as long as they line up. And you had the perfect harmonic here. So it's really, really nice. And then you can start actually adding up. And these are all publicly on my Twitter of like over a year ago, where I was like TP1, TP2, and I had marked this as buy it all. I believe I deleted the text. Yeah, it was marked as buy it all. This is the buy it all level. The question is, will we get it? And one of the things that we need to see is if we can regain what, guys? We said 20,688.50 to 20,904. That was our little box. When you go back to our chart, look at the beginning of this box. These are charts that are completely separate. The boxes are drawn up completely differently, but this shows 21,149. So you get above, basically $21,000 on a weekly closing basis, we'll probably see 24 to 25K. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going up to this blue box. However, if we do break out of this, we start looking to this box and saying, this is where we're going to be looking for our next resistance. And it would make sense both from a range standpoint, from a volume standpoint, if we did the volume data on it, which the other chart had done. From a mathematical standpoint on averages, it makes sense because we have some untapped averages up there as well from prior quarters. And now it lines up very nicely locally here with structural and pattern recognition, support and resistance. So kind of like everything starts coming together and making things, flow a little bit. So yeah, let's see if this gives us a push. Yeah, flip the weekly VWAP, good deal. It's flipping the daily pivot. Yeah, cheers, Mr. Anderson. Yeah, no, when it comes to tools, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'll say this right away. I'm one of the biggest tools in the space because there are very few people that can cross through as many tools as I can because I've spent so much time working on them. Some of them have custom settings myself, and it just comes with experience and time, like time on the charts. But I think tools over indicators for me is a big deal. I prefer tools. Just because I just think they're more reliable. They give better reactions, and you can stay overbought or oversold for a very long time. So that's why I don't put a lot of weight into some of these like momentum indicators that other people do. Now, that doesn't mean you can't develop a strategy inside of a momentum indicator that's reliable to you. Like that's not the case at all. So that would be, just not something that I've done personally. So I don't trade that way because that's not where my edge is, right? Yeah, and they are lagging. And like I said, you can make a strategy around that. Like there are ways to do it. It's just not something I've done, So I'm not trying to like slander or like talk down to anyone that uses those tools. They all have a purpose and they all like give specific information. It's just you have to figure out a way to make that information is actionable, right? That's the key. That's why I prefer order flow, because it's much more real time. We can see that this move is coming in on declining open interest. Delta has remained positive though for the most part. So we did talk about that. We have good delta right here. We should see these buyers defending if reached. We'd want to see the weekly point of control and previous day val held. Didn't really formally test it by any means, but you are watching this now. Make a push for the range rotation, essentially, up to the previous day point of control, which is untapped, and the weekly value area high. So maybe we should have taken that FOMO long back here, right, guys? But I've just never been my bag of tea. I mean, even with risk management, it's just not something I do very often. So we'll see what we get. We could be watching paint dry. So it is what it is. And S&P, yeah, I am making more content. I'm live every single morning on Leading Crypto, our other server. Yeah, no, like I said, man, it's really whatever suits your your trading style. Like, there's no right or wrong way to really trade. I mean, there are some wrong ways, but that's not one of them. That'd be just a very biased opinion. You'll hear me talk some smack on Elliott Wave, but only because it's very dubious. It's very assumption heavy. And to me, like, anything that's very assumption heavy is tough, and it's really hard to quantify. So like when it comes to statistics, it's hard to put all that stuff down on paper and like make it make sense in terms of math. And it's because things are so subjective. So like the less subjectiveness that you can put into something, in my opinion, the better off you are. If you can eliminate that, and some people call it quant trading. I think Crypto Blood calls it quant trading. That's the way to go, because you don't want there to be a whole lot of thought process. And you got to have your entry and your trigger. That's it. And I didn't have an entry or a trigger, so I didn't take any trades yet. Now, had we been live and we came down to these lows right here, which was the gold pocket from high to low, might be a different story. Yeah, no, I try to make sure that while I'm live, I'm giving you guys the deets on like what I see and like how I look at things. Make sure they're in depth. That way, if you guys have questions, you can ask. It's never to ever jock my own shit. Just like it's one of those things where a lot of you guys have some things that you guys do that I don't, that work, and that's why I always say, like, if it works for you, go for it. Although if it's something that I don't think is worth your time, I'll just tell you. You guys hopefully never take that personal, but it's just that would just be my opinion on it at the time. So, but it's been a long day. I helped somebody move today, and busted ass for about 90 minutes there, and not showing my age by any means, but I'm just tired. Yeah, so you're not wrong, man. Patience is the hardest part. I mentioned today with Gareth when we were talking, I said, the issue is like max pain could be an overall range for a long time, meaning that there's no new highs or lows mating. You just go sideways. We called it codename Brazil. One thing I'd mention is like, it is max pain for a lot of people, because a lot of people like to diddle in the middle, meaning they start taking positions where they shouldn't. Like, their invalidation is not very good. So if price does do something like we saw back here, and they took positions in the middle up here at like 90, $200, but the trading range, even without this volume profile, right, your trading range is all the way down here at 36.93 is the low. Okay, and your high is up here at 13,880. Just from a structural standpoint, nothing else needs to be looked at. You've got a very high time frame range here. If you're buying right here and price returns to the range lows, you're probably getting washed out. You're probably leaving those positions, So that's why when I say, like, for a macro position, this isn't day trading, but it applies to day trading just on a smaller scale, like the daily ranges. if you're playing in the middle too much, when price gets up to the highs, if you're in a short, you're likely to close that short because you're like, oh shit, I'm going to get, liquidated or whatever it may be for that person, or I'm just losing money. And then they get out and it reverses, and then they, what they do, they FOMO back in, and they short the low of the range, right? Human behavior just doesn't really change much. And unfortunately, those that diddle in the middle and don't have the patience or the ability to recognize a range, they're doomed to fail. They're going to become a statistic, unfortunately. So, but to the people like us that, we're all smart and patient traders and investors. So people like us, we need people like that. See if it gets that push here into that region. We'll take a look at what's going on there. Hopefully we get some decent order flow. Maybe take a scalp trade out of it if it's there. Yeah, your daily pivot's currently your POC for the day. That doesn't mean a whole lot right now, to be upfront with you guys, but it's there. Oh, that'd be almost in London. That'd be a pass for me. I'll probably be in bed by then. But yeah, you're up at so this is your previous day trend, essentially. So this is just a linear regression tool. I just use custom settings on it to adjust to it. And it works really, really well. And I use it based on time, meaning I like to measure the previous day and then I stop, right? So I want to know what the previous day trend was. It's usually very well respected. So if we break out of this, what did we say? We're expecting a move into the previous day point of control. So it means coming through this local high, probably this local gold pocket into here. And then we get to play the game of, is it worth our time to take a scalp, right? That's the fun part. So that's when things get interesting. Otherwise, we have an alert set for the daily open, which is where our VWAP is, and we're interested in that. Also the EQ of the regression, very, very nice. So that's how I like to use tools. Like I said, indicators, tools, same thing. I count that as a tool. And the only thing it's doing is it's kind of giving me loose data that if it lines up with other things, I'd be interested in a trade there. Like I make custom forks that are designed to show you where the outlier data could be. And it allows us to then project when a trend is overbought or oversold based on a tool. And I'll be honest with you, man, there are days, a lot of days that this thing catches the exact top or bottom based on those data points, right? So very, very interesting and fun to do, which this puts us actually right in that area. So very, very nice. Give me just a second. I am going to step away for a minute, go grab a quick drink, check on the dog, make sure he's not tearing up the carpet. I'll be right back. All right. Fortunately for me, he is passed out, which is always a good sign. So I'm going to eat some of my kids' Halloween candy and wait for Price to do something for us. My kids don't need all that candy. I'm down, man, I'm down 18 pounds in the last like 3 months, from 176.8 down to 158.2 today. So I'm going to reward myself. I'm running negative splits. I did a 4-mile negative split where I started at, this isn't really all that impressive to be honest with you, but based on how big I had gotten, it kind of was, because I'm still sitting around 160, but I did 737, like 707, 640, and then like almost 6 flat for my 4th mile. So I'm getting faster for each mile. Obviously, that's why I refer to it as a negative split. And I'd like to get that down to where every mile's under 7 minutes and the last one's closer to like 5:30, maybe a little faster. Just need a few more weeks to get conditioned for it. And I'll probably drop like another 8 or 9 pounds. Frank, honestly, diet change. Oh man, Gary, good night, man. Get some sleep. Market will always be there. Frank, just diet change, habit changes. I get anywhere from 15 to 25,000 steps a day. I walk my dog 3-4 times a day. I'm fortunate enough I don't have to leave my home for work. So I have a walking treadmill underneath my desk. It was $250 to invest in it. It's blue. It matches the wall on my left that I painted. Looks real good. And I put a 30-pound weighted vest on, and I walk on it for an hour every morning while my dog runs around the backyard. And then I walk him, and then I go for a few mile run. Then I just eat better, just clean diet. And that's it, man. Like I'm putting in the work. I do lift. So every day I'll do I do a lot of body weight stuff at home. I have all the gym equipment, but like I like to get a lot of reps in. So I'll do, sets of like 100 of everything, whether it's squats or push-ups, pull-ups, things like that. I love my walking treadmill, man. Honestly, it makes my morning really great. I turn on, if you go to like live, music on YouTube, you can actually find like live mixes, like a radio, and I just play my computers. I just have I say system, but like I have my speakers going with that music. I walk, and what I'll do is I'll turn on like kind of like a Kindle. I'll open up one of my books and I'll read it while I'm walking. Makes it really, really nice. It's become kind of like my morning habit, and it's a good habit to have, I think. It's also helped me cut down on caffeine. Kind of like Big Booty Mix, actually. It is. It's a little bit more upbeat than I normally would go for, but I change it up every now and then. But it's really about just forming good habits. I've noticed that I sleep better. I'm waking up without my alarms, which is really great. I was downing like 800 milligrams of caffeine a day at one point. So bad for you. So I decided to do a caffeine cycle and get off of caffeine altogether for like a week. Now I maybe get 160 milligrams a day, and that I can totally feel it when I have it finally, and I just feel 1,000 times better. Just small things. You got to take care of yourself a little bit. And I say it's easy, but they're obvious things, but they're hard because you have habits that you've already built up, and sometimes they're not great habits. Yeah, I was doing like 800 milligrams a day for like a month, dude. I was having and it wasn't even affecting me. I could have a caffeine, stimulant and then go to sleep type thing. So I just had to get off of caffeine altogether for about a week to reset. And it doesn't take long to reset your caffeine, receptors. So that was a big thing. Big Booty Mix. That's why we're a team. Yeah, discipline's a big part of it. It really is. Good morning, Max. Good old Maxwell. He's going to do a special members live stream. I accidentally launched this one publicly, Max, but not a big deal. We're just going to rock out with it. And did I get the shakes? Not really. I just felt fucking terrible, man. I just felt really bad. I was tired, even though I was caffeinated. It wasn't even affecting me. My stomach was actually upset occasionally. Like it was upsetting my stomach. And I just knew it wasn't good for me. So I I just decided it was a good time to make the change. And I started taking cold showers. I know that's he goes, freeloaders abound in this live. Yeah. Hey man, freeloaders are welcome too. Your time is valuable and you're spending it here. So I would hardly call that freeloading. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people want an easy, hey, just tell me what to do. They don't want to learn. So I would hardly refer to you as a freeloader. But I started taking cold showers. That's not something that I expect everyone to do. But I will tell you what, man, it's tough to get into because I live in Kansas. So it's like anywhere from like 19 degrees to like 30 degrees in the morning. But I actually kind of like them now. Like it really gets you going. Like once you get used to it, it takes about 3-4 days, but I'm in the shower for maybe 3-4 minutes. And I mean, we're talking ice cold. It's only cold water. As soon as I'm out of it, I'm awake. Like I'm alert. I'm ready to roll. Like I do enjoy that portion of the day. So I think that's played a big role in my productivity in the morning, because that first step is doing something that I didn't want to do before. Nobody wants to do it. And now when I do it, I'm like, all right, cold showers taken, get dressed, go downstairs, get on the treadmill, walk the dog, make money. That's it. Oh man, you know what? I'm not sending any pictures of my thing, so I don't really care. I'm not even worried about that, man. But you're not wrong. George Costanza, he is the living proof. He's documented that very well. Honestly, cold showers, man. I'm telling you right now, I don't feel like a god by any means, but like you feel alert. Like you get into that habit and you keep doing it. Like again, everything's about habits. Just like with trading, you got to have good habits. You get into that habit and it's like, yeah, it's just a different. I think that really does contribute to why I don't need as much caffeine as well. Like I actually don't have any caffeine until after I've walked on the treadmill. I don't have any caffeine until after I'm several hours in the day. I have caffeine in the middle of the morning. I don't have it right when I wake up. So now when I wake up on my own. I'm alert. I don't need caffeine to be alert. That cold shower does everything and then some. That I feel like the cold shower is more effective than coffee is, to be honest with you. It's just such a jolt to the system. It really is, but not in a bad way. But your showers will get quicker. I'll tell you that right now. Those showers will get quick. Yeah, so I used to do ice baths in college after tough track, wrestling, or cross country practices, and like that's a whole different ball game there. Like it is tough, but I've done like the 5 to 10 minute ice baths before. It's pretty rough, at least at first, but it's good for you. I actually didn't know that he said that, but it makes sense. I try not to make my morning reliant on caffeine. I think that's a really bad habit to get into. I know we're way off topic of trading here, guys, but as you can see, we have a standard Asia session in play here. So for anyone that's new, if you are joining and you're joining late, if you go back to the beginning of the stream, you'll have time to catch up. Just put on like 1.5x or 1.25. All the TA is there that you need, macro and short term. But Max will be live for the FOMC, going over order flow tomorrow as well. I think he secretly enjoys all the volatility when it comes in, just so he can like watch it, even though sometimes it's not actionable because it happens so fast. Like it's just, unless you're a bot, it's hard to act on. But it's still fun to like go through and look at and see the reaction of buyers and sellers in a very violent manner. Yeah, the 1 mil volume chart gets pretty wild. That shit goes off. That's not a bad Bad chart to have up. Got my dad trying to like join Bybit. I'm like, you don't need Bybit, dude. There's like ATMs now where you can go and put literal cash in, guys, and actually get Bitcoin without giving them any information. I don't know if you guys know that, but it's pretty wild. There's like 8 of them in Kansas. I would never say anything like that on stream or recommend that you do that. But if one was trying to be somewhat secretive, it's not a bad way to go about it until it's illegal, which eventually it will be. You know they're going to do it. Fucking applied for, not applied, but I put in my information because I'm looking for new roofs for the townhomes that I own, and that was a mistake. So many text messages and missed calls right now. And they call multiple times a day, and I get it. Like, I've worked in the industries before, not necessarily that one, but it's a lot. I just think it's cool that we have that level of adoption where, like, if you wanted to, like, you could even sell crypto there, like within certain limits. They don't report anything. It's pretty wild. I'm not condoning anything, like that, where you guys, try to avoid taxes, but we need Monero ATMs now. Yeah, the OGs know. Monero, man. I have not looked at. You know what? We got time, so let's look at Monero. Let's build out a Monero chart, because I've actually been saying I'm going to do this, and I just have not done it. So let's actually go through and take a peek at Monero. We just got to figure out what the best exchange to look at it is. I have a feeling it's going to be either Poly or Poloniex or OKX, but I think let's look at, that's USDC. We don't need that. That's not cool. OKX. Yeah, so if anyone actually knows the best exchange to get the most data out of Monero, is it Kraken? Kraken's OG. And I used to trade on, the very first exchange that I traded on was Kraken. Fees are fucking horrendous, but what are you going to do back then? The only thing I really like about Kraken was that they did not let you go over 5x. And so when I was learning, it's a really good thing that you couldn't go over 5x, because I was not a good trader when I first started trading. Are you really not going to let me click the link? I just want to go to the link. DYDX. Oh, well, that's not very indicative of Monero. There we go. Kraken. Bueno. Let's actually build a Kraken chart. Why wouldn't we want to? Look at this. It goes all the way back to 2014. So yeah, no, Monero is banned in a lot of places. They definitely banned it, but they can suck it. I like Monero. I hope Monero makes a comeback, because why wouldn't you be rooting for something like Monero, right? Straight away, 12M. I'm not even going to adjust the title of this video, guys. So this is just going to be one of those that's like hidden in the bear market. It'll eventually get buried with other content. No one will ever watch it because it's too long. It's going to be hours long. But the nuggets that are in here today are going to be fantastic. So we're just going to build out the chart. I like it a lot. It's the high 455.98. Beauty. You got a pretty big inefficiency here. That's not good. That does not bode well, but honestly, this chart's not as bad as I thought it was. Like on the macro, this is 2017. You made a new high. You just SFP'd it. That's all. So one would think you'd see $44 over time. But is Monero getting traction or something? Because normally you would expect something that's like borderline illegal to be getting shit on pretty hard. Yeah, I'm actually very much a fan of this level between $44. You could probably map off the open here at 63. So anything under $60 is probably a good buy. But let's get at a log scale just real quick. Yeah, you're way below the gold pocket here. Yeah, you almost hit an 80% retrace on it. So one would like that. Actually, let's leave that up and go back to log for just a second. Okie dokie. Yeah. There you go. Your linear scale 786 from the all-time high or all-time low to all-time high, which is there. Very, very interesting. 110 gives, and yeah, we are expecting that sub $60 level into 59.20 down to 44.40, and that would be very much so a full retrace. Let's take a look at some range data. Why wouldn't we? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Look at this. Well, sometimes the gold pocket ends up being resistance after you break through it, right? So it goes from support to resistance, pop back up to range high potentially. Point of control comes down at 44. I am a buyer of Monero sub $60 down to 44. I think that's a great spot to start looking to get in, and that you'd be setting up for a pretty good rally. So for me, I'm actually going to set an alert here. That way I get notified when we come back down here. I'm very interested in this one if certain criteria is met. I was wondering if that would do that. Yeah. Yep. Probably not a great channel. But yeah, for me, alerts set at 110 just because that's the prior low here. It's a nice monthly level, quarterly level as well. It's untapped. If that support is lost, I'm interested in getting this at a discount down at the 886 and the 12M. If I don't get it, I just won't buy any, but I will buy some actually if we get down here. I think this is a really good area of value. Does it have the risk of going as low as $33, which percentage-wise is a lot? Yes, but I'm okay with it. I think this is a good enough zone. Like, this is your zone you want to be in, right here on Monero. Like, this is where the value is, right here. I think this volume profile is not necessarily needed, but you can kind of see it right here. So you can see this is your area to be buying. Could it put in a higher low here or a partial decline? Yes. But we have no sign of strength necessarily just yet to tell us that's going to happen. So for me, the best trade, and we always say that, don't be bearish or don't be bullish, just take the best trade. So I'm not bearish on this asset. I just know that this is the best area for me to get in. And that's what we're looking to do, is we're looking to get good entries. And I think this is a really good area to be looking for. So that's where I'm at. Philly is spanking the Stros tonight. I don't like to hear that. Yeah, the Phillies winning is not good for the economy. So go Astros. If you guys want a bull market, you'll root for the Astros. Oh, that is not the way I wanted to open up ESPN.com 6-0. Fuck. I knew I should have watched this game. It's bad luck if I'm not watching it, but it's too late now. But that is Monero in a nutshell, guys. Meanwhile, Bitcoin has done nothing. We missed nothing looking at Monero. So it is almost 9 o'clock. I'll probably stay on like another 30 minutes. I know that we normally try to get a trade in, but the analysis is good. It's a public video. And going into FOMC, we kind of know that we're going to get some stagnant order flow. Order flow is kind of, you remember these are 5 million volume candles and they're taking 29 minutes, 1 hour and 1 minute on this last one. Holy shista. That's a lot. That does a lot of it's a lot of nothing going on. There's a lot of not volume coming in. So, and you can see that, yeah, you've got higher highs and positive delta. You're still failing to make a new high, or at least push just yet. I wouldn't quite trade that divergence by any means, especially given the environment we're in right now. But yeah, so we'll hang out for a little bit. I like Monero below 110 though. I like it down in this zone. Look at that, nice support. All the work we did, we didn't even have to do. We could have just drawn this little box and it would have been fine. As of right now, you could make the argument right here. So this is like your breaker, your swing failure pattern, for lack of a You know, that term, you can see you've come down, you've tested it perfectly. So if we just hide this real quick, all right, so you can see, we'll hide this guy too. This is your breaker. Boom, 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 boom. Support. Other people will do this. The real popular one right now is order blocks. Some guys like, you did order blocks wrong in your academy. I'm like, bro, there's no correct way. The guy who says he invented an order box is full of shit. He didn't invent anything. Those things have been around for decades. You can literally read about them. He just invented his own strategy, maybe, you know, probably has his own system. And that's totally different than inventing something. I didn't invent the pitchfork, but I did invent a standard way of pulling them to take complete subjectiveness out of the equation, and they're very good. So there's a difference. I just check my phone and I see that I'm live. Yeah, Magic Internet Money is live. So all I have to say is, if you made it this far and you've been watching me stream for an hour, smash the like, do me a solid, stick around in the future, watch the videos, subscribe to Leading Crypto. That's our other channel, literally Leading Crypto. It says LC on there. You will not be disappointed. Some of the, I would say, most underrated analysis you'll get to watch. So imagine if I was just a public streamer all day and I just live streamed trading. This would be what they'd be watching. Some people would. I mean, just people would tune in too. They really would. We got one for all. We had somebody join today. I imagine he's joined from the stream, so we got a newcomer. It was a sad SFP. I want the gold pocket. I'm not convinced that's an SFP, to be honest with you. I think that's just, we're just getting bored to death here, unfortunately. Your guy wants to stream you guys building all day. What do you build, man? Pools? I guess that'd probably be the way to go. Like, I imagine you do like in-ground and above-ground pools. Yeah, no, the video with Gareth is good. Like, you know, off camera, I did say that, you know, I gave Gareth a compliment, and I truly do mean it, that he is one of the nicest and most informed people in the space. And oftentimes you don't get both of those things. He's very genuine, very down to earth. He's knowledgeable. And if he doesn't know something, he does say, I don't know. Like, he's very rare in that, you know, like a lot of people don't do that. And the same guy that he is on camera, he is off camera. Super great dude. and can't say enough good things about him. We're excited to have him back on in the future. We talked about it afterwards. He even talked about getting us on potentially somewhere else and with some of his guys, because he's like enjoyed conversing with me in CVO. So that might be something we do in the future. But yeah, Gareth is he's great. Been really a pleasure to meet in the space, because it's not always the case when you meet other creators or other public figures, I guess, in this genre. So great dude, family guy. He seems to just be enjoying life, which as you should be, and great attitude about everything in general. Pool man, I bet, would pop. Yeah. Yeah, Gareth is very smart. He has a very good way of speaking in general terms that even if you're not up to date on the markets, like you can follow along. It's something I need to work on personally, but yeah, he's got that skill, and that's an important one to have when you're relaying information. In-ground liner, G unit pools. Do you guys do what are those called? The zero gravity pools, where like it looks like you're gonna like fall off the face of the earth? Can't believe there's 20 of you in here watching. Nice. Gunite. Infinity pools. There you go. That's what we're looking at. Yeah. Sorry, dude, I don't get into a lot of that stuff. I don't have a pool at my house, so as you guys probably know, they would definitely drive up the cost of insurance. Dude, that's dope though. Zero gravity. Yeah, infinity, zero gravity. Same thing, man. It's infinite bounce. That's pretty cool. The infinity pool thing. I've seen those on TikTok and YouTube. Obviously, I think everybody has Instagram. One of them, yeah, you can tell that I'm from the Midwest, can't you? I go down to Florida, CVOs, and be like, this dude's a hick. But water suspended in air. Yeah, man. Like they literally, it's just aliens. That's all I'm going to say is aliens. Like, same guy that built zero gravity pools probably built the pyramids. I got to jump up to get in. That'd be wild. Maybe one day. Maybe I just invented something, Max. You're really kind of like throwing shade at it here, but yeah, no, that I get that. Like, is what it is. Oh man, my kid's mom wants to get him cell phones. Nope. Kids are 6 and 8, by the way. They don't need cell phones. No reason for them to have a cell phone to break and lose, in my opinion. But what do I know? I agree. I agree. Way too early to have a cell phone, but what kills me is they already have iPads, and like we do like the messenger accounts on there, so they can message like their mom and myself. They can call us. I have them. They're hooked up to the plan, so they get service. They don't need Wi-Fi, so they can contact us whenever. Now, do I expect them to carry an iPad around everywhere? No, but like, where am I letting my kids go that I don't, know about, or I'm not like dropping my kids off anywhere. They're not old enough for that. So the cell phone thing kind of what? Yeah. 10 is all right if they're like active and you live in a big city, but I don't. My kids, I live in a town of like 3,000 in rural Kansas. It's not something I deem too necessary. I feel like more bad from that comes from anything, because I don't know. It just seems like another access point for nefarious types. Not that I'm super paranoid about that, but as a father, you worry about that. Do you guys want to know how old I was when I got my first cell phone? I was 21 years old. I'm 34, but I was 21 years old when I got my first cell phone in 2009, way after they'd already been out. And I just didn't think it was necessary. It did make dating hard. I found out that it was kind of like one of the motivating factors was that I had friends with cell phones, and I was like getting girls' numbers and like texting them from my friend's phone, or like having them call the dorm phone, because I lived in the dorms my freshman, sophomore year, because they paid for it. So I was like, why wouldn't I? Getting a cell phone was a bit of a game changer. This is like flip phone days. Yeah, except I was way older than you. And back then, dude, I'll tell you what, man, back then cell phones were expensive. Like I was paying for like 300 or 400 minutes talking and unlimited text. And I was paying like $70 a month from like Altel, which got bought out by Verizon eventually. Now, unlimited everything on 5G is like $30 a month. It's crazy. But before that, yeah, that was like my first phone experience. And that phone didn't even have a camera that I had, over twice as expensive as now. Like, it's crazy that technology has come as far as it has and gotten cheaper, which is the way it should be. I do think one of the biggest problems out here is I can't get things like Google Fiber. So I'm paying like $100 a month for top speed, and it's only 100 megabytes per second out where I'm at. Whereas like you can get Google Fiber, pay a fraction of that, and you got like a couple gigabytes. Finally getting to move down into that daily open previous day value area, low area. Also, if you recall from EXO, let's make sure it lines up on TradingView. It would be our weekly. No, it's just a weekly point of control according to TradingView. But I think on EXO, I swear that it said it was no, it is the weekly POC. It was the previous day val and daily open. Okay, yeah, this is the area of the chart we want to see holding. If not, these lows could be taken. So gold pocket just beneath it, of course. So you are kind of like, you're giving us a really big window at that point, but we'll keep it for right here for right now. But this is the next area we're interested in. You've got the VWAP there, just an area of interest. Yeah, Blackberries used to be super popular. Me and CVO were talking about that, how back in the day before like iPhones, it was Blackberry. If you didn't have a Blackberry, like you were nobody. And then one day, once you had a Blackberry, everyone's like, why don't you have an iPhone? Or, the S5 or S3 or whatever it is. So interesting how times have changed. God, look at that, hour and like 14 minutes to get a 5 million volume candle, excuse me. And that is absolutely ridiculous, guys. We have entered the realm of chop. And, one idea that we had talked about was that we would be going sideways on Bitcoin here, right? And you've got this consolidation. We don't pattern trade here, but we can definitely, say that there is a consolidation and a structure forming here. And the question is, which way is it going to break? If you break to the downside, you've got your monthly pivot beneath you that you could easily use as a target. If you break to the upside, you're just targeting these local highs pretty much, which in turn does line up really, really nicely with this range. We've talked about that right here. This is your overall range, basically. I think I was using this candle right here. Yeah, there we go. And where's your local highs? Where's your range high? Right here, regardless of what candle you use, whether it's this one or the other one, they do come in above these. So that's how I would trade this just going into news events. I would just be looking for the short-term play, the range trade, and go from there. Because if you break down from this box, which, this is a harmonic essentially, right? We can go out to Bybit for this one, and we'll go to the hourly. Should give us a good bird's eye view. We'll get out we'll stay in log. Be all right. So, and let's get rid of these gold pockets. You did have a very nice harmonic here on the 4 hour, right? So timing on this was really, really nice. You had the initial move into the highs here at the 618, and then you came back at the 1-1 basically and took the high, implying that if you start breaking down from 20K, yeah, you're probably going to expect the overall golden pocket. We'll probably fill in 19,142, that, October point of control, and, we go from there. But that's the context behind it. But for right now, you still got higher lows in place, and you have a consolidation and a compression coming, threatening to come all the way up here to this local gold pocket potentially over time. If it breaks out like this is technically where I'd want to be looking for, up to as high as filling in some of these inefficiencies. But that's really kind of one of those where it's like we're getting ahead of ourselves. We still got to see the break. Yeah, Midwest. It is crazy to see. I will give CBO all the credit. Anyone that's been watching his members updates, he actually has been covering Doge for weeks, talking about how it's going to rotate into the Q2 range point of control and weekly level around 15 cents. And he did trade that. Like, we were talking about it a couple times where he's like, yeah, I bought Doge. And I was like, what the fuck? And, he's the one laughing now. So technicals definitely were at play with Doge. And we talked about it today with Gareth as well. If you watch the recording that I put out earlier as a static video, Doge is not immune to technical analysis. It's just how fast the move happened that I think caught everybody off guard. So, but yeah, I don't necessarily think it's a good time to go risk on Doge personally, but it's not for me to tell people how to use their capital. There's a big move down here. We getting to a point where we're interested in this. We're getting close. That previous day value area low. I feel like we're going to come through it a little bit here, though. We'll wait and see what we get. Go over to the order flow. We got a 14-minute candle. I mean, in relation to the last hour and change candle, that's 6-minute coming in. Potentially, we've got 2 million of the 5 million. This is going to be a fraction of the time it took to get to 5 million in the last one. So this will be nice. To me, it's still kind of boring. There's not much coming on here. We can go to the 1 mil just to kind of get a look. Yeah, look at that. 33 minutes for a 1 mil volume candle. That is insane. You did have some fast volume up here, though. This did kind of indicate it was going to come back to that VWAP a little bit, but sorry, I'm getting tired. It's been a long day. They're all long once you get in your 30s. Not to deter any of you from aging, but you don't really have a choice. So previous day val, a little bit of action here. Let's see what she wants to do with it. Frozen in time for right now. So maybe one of the streams we may just start moving Asia streams to New York, because Asia has been dead the last 2 times that we've traded live, and usually we like to take a trade every single session. I've stayed up till midnight to take them before. I'm not going to do that now because I like to get up very early right now, 4 to 5 a.m., get my day started. So probably won't be on. I won't be long for this world, probably another 10 or 15 minutes. But if this decides to do anything, we'll get involved. What's up, Scorch? Hopefully you're doing well. Yeah, I don't use Market Cipher too much. I'm not gonna sit here and bash it or anything. But yeah, I don't use a ton of momentum oscillators. It's just not my bag. But again, I was talking about earlier, there's a lot of people that do have strategies that derive around those. And if they've got one that works for them, then definitely don't change what you're doing. He goes, come drive a bus about the right time. Yeah, that early in the morning. I bet you're up very early. But nobody wants me driving a busload of kids. Like we'll find the nearest cliff, I think, and head there promptly. Not that I don't love children, guys. It's just my patience. I'm not meant to be a teacher by any means. Don't let the calming demeanor on stream fool you. That's all I'll say about that. I'm fairly high strung. I don't know how you do it, Mark. I really don't. But I imagine, if you get to know the kids and people that you pick up, things like that, like you probably enjoy it. It's probably nice. He just comes with the height. Yeah, man, if you're short like me, you're pretty much guaranteed to be an impatient a-hole. I don't blame you, man. Not having health insurance is a big thing, and paying for it even is even a bigger thing. It's expensive. So more power to you, man. Yeah, no, it's very expensive self-employed. You're not wrong. There's many a times I've considered just going and getting a bullshit like 20-hour a week part-time job at like a UPS and just pushing boxes as a peon just to get, paid medical, dental, and vision just to have it, because anymore you have to, but it's just not something that I got to do right now. But, one day that might come to that, because our current system is not, I wouldn't say it's like the worst, but it's not good either. Like it's just very expensive to involve yourself in it and try to have those things if you want to, if you're self-employed, for sure. I agree. Problem is it doesn't make sense because I haven't had to use health insurance in such a long time for myself that, paying for it, $1,000 a month for the family and stuff like that. I pay for my kids obviously, but like adding myself, it just doesn't add up. The math doesn't make sense. So maybe somebody in the industry can make sense of it, but it just doesn't make any sense. In Australia, I have to pay for my health insurance $600 a month. Good Lord. Woof. Yeah, Mark, that's a lot. Even $600 a month, man, that's too much. When I worked at a couple companies, it was pretty much free. I worked at one though, where when I priced out the family plan, for me and my kids, at the time my significant other, it was like $1,300 or $1,400 a month, and I was like just dumbfounded at like why it was so expensive. This is like 2017 when I had that job though. The subpar free public system, yeah. Healthcare is it's an interesting topic. The baby boomer generation here, I don't know what it's like in Australia, but our retiring generation is there's just a lot of them, and we don't really have adequate infrastructure set up for that, unfortunately, in my opinion. Purely my opinion. So And she's come to a standstill here. Sometimes I wonder if I'm still like live because price isn't moving, but nope, it's moving, just very, very slowly. But look at these candles, guys. 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes coming. Well, this one's going to take a while. The volume's just died off again. This may be an uneventful Asia Live, which, you know, unfortunately it's a public one and it's uneventful, but hopefully you guys have enjoyed some of the analysis that's been done outside of, you know, not being able to really react off of these just no volume. We're used to seeing something like this, guys, where you get like seconds for this type of volume candle or delta candle, and you're not really getting that right now. We're getting very poor reactions, I guess is the only word, you know, words to describe. Very small vacuum of price. So yeah, no, definitely, guys. Stop by again. We're live every morning on Leading Crypto, the other channel, just so you guys know. That is 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern. I don't really post that stuff on this channel because I leave it to Leading Crypto, but we did take a Halloween trade. If you guys were watching, Max called it out on the order flow. It was an area we were interested in. He told you guys exactly what you were looking for to get that trade. So if somebody was actually in that, they could have legitimately taken that trade. They knew where we were getting in. They knew why we were getting in. They also knew where we were looking to take profit and what triggers would have been for confirmations, things like that. So definitely tune into those streams. We like to give away a lot of information because trading's not easy. Like I've told people this for a long time that, and this is no slight at the general public, that I can tell you where price is going to go and the general public as a whole will still fuck it up. It's because trading is not as simple as just taking direction. It really is harder than people think. So that's why we like to do these live streams so we can talk through like situations like right now. Like a lot of people are going to want to get involved, but there's just no trigger for us to do so. And so sometimes the best trade is no trade. And you just don't put your capital at risk, even if it's just 1%, you know. All those little percentage points add up. Your win rate matters. We want to take the best trades possible. And if we don't get to, then it's okay. There'll be another trade. There's another day coming tomorrow and another opportunity. Yeah, Asia Open's been kind of bad lately. There was a streak there for us, though, for like, man, like 4 to 6 weeks where we got good Asia trades and it's been good. And then here recently, as we're coming into, you know, we'll pull up the chart for this, but you're coming into an area where this is starting to compress. Like we're looking for a big move. The issue is the big move did happen, and now we're back to that like consolidation where you're not going to get a lot of big moves until there's a catalyst, which the catalyst is going to be the FOMC meeting probably. So yeah, this first week in November is going to be good. We're trying to stay as active as we can though, to keep you guys like in the loop and, you know, get the TA out there. So keep an eye on that. If you guys don't watch Debate Crypto on Thursdays, you should. I go on there with other good, you know, other knowledgeable guests. That's actually how I met Gareth. Yeah, we'll go from there. But I am going to hop off here, guys, get some sleep and wake up refreshed and renewed for tomorrow's live stream, but also for the New York session. You know, probably be up there in the London, just looking over things, seeing what's going on. But I appreciate you guys. If you have any questions, all you've got to do, if you're watching this back, leave a comment down below, and I will get back to you. Everybody have a good evening.